Miss Rogers was telling me that you have been doing some research. I've worked with some other classes that have been doing some research, and I've been pretty impressed with the research you've been doing. Who are some people that you've looked up and researched information on this year? Love you raising your hands. Love it, love it. Thank you very much. You're going to have to help me with your names, okay? When I point at you, and I'll try to be precise, but when I point at you, tell me your name before you speak, okay? And that'll help me. Just don't give me a test at the end of the class, okay? Destiny. We just had a Destiny, so I should be able to remember yours. Who do you know that you've researched so far this year?
Daniel Boone.
Daniel Boone, okay. And we're going to go back and talk about Daniel Boone a little bit in a few minutes, okay? I know that you have been researching someone else. Now, I know that's probably not the same person for everyone, but who else have you been researching? And I'll have to just get a few examples. Let's see. Thank you, Destiny, for sharing. Ethan?
Sitting Bull.
Sitting Bull. Okay, so you're researching some information on Sitting Bull. Interesting.
My name is Brother Ryan Mitchell, and we were studying Daniel Boone, and we were Benjamin Franklin.
And Benjamin Franklin. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's get a couple of girls. Thank you for sharing. Let's get a couple of girls.
My name's Hayden, and
Thank you, Hayden.
We're studying Harriet Tubman.
Harriet Tubman. Now, you're studying with partners, right? So
Yeah.
you and someone else. Oh, you and Destiny. Hayden and Destiny are. Okay, good. Kendra, thank you for remembering. Pocahontas. Now, who are you studying Pocahontas with? You're researching Pocahontas. Okay. What's your name? And you're researching who? Oh, Betsy Ross. Okay. So you have some famous Americans, some pretty famous people that you're researching. Okay, hold on to the rest of those. We'll talk about those in a little while. Here's what we're going to do today. Today we're going to back up, like I said, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the guy on the front of the biography that I put on your tables. Okay? We're going to gather some information that you've already reviewed, some of it, and I'll let you know. There are some papers in the middle of your tables, and I'll let you know when we need to work on those. Okay? But when you're working on your research with Daniel Boone and Pocahontas, Betsy Ross, Sitting Bull, Ben Franklin, what are some things? Have you ever seen a timeline or used a timeline? Is every hand in the room going to go up? Miss Rogers is watching. Okay. Okay. So most of you are familiar with the timeline. Talk to me about what goes on a timeline. What goes on a timeline? What's your name? Natalie. What goes on a timeline?
Birth or the day that they died.
Okay. At the beginning of the timeline, normally, very good, Natalie, is the day they were born. Whoever it is you're researching or looking at information about. Usually the day they were born, the year they were born, sometimes the day. Okay, and at the other end of the timeline, at the very end, if the person is not living, is their date of death. Yes. I'm going to show you one on me in just a few minutes that won't end there. Okay? It just ends with today. Okay? But I will start with my birth as long as you don't tell anybody how old I am. Okay? Is that a deal? Shake your head this way if that's a deal. Oh, thank you. Okay. What else do you see on a timeline? We have a good start. Tell me your name, sweetie.
Haley.
Haley.
You see their daughter and their
If they've had
kid.
If they've had children, yes. The significant or major events in someone's life, right? Is that what you're going to say? What's your name?
Joe.
Joe. Thank you, and I'm sorry that I took that away from you. The significant or major events in someone's life. So, have you ever made a timeline, created a timeline for yourself? No? You should do that sometime. Start with the day you were born, and talk about, and then write down the dates of major things that have happened. Okay? So, let's look at, very quickly, let me show you the timeline that I created. Our goal for today, your goal for today, let me zoom in here. Is going to be, we're going to use an iPad. See if it'll let me zoom a little. Whoa, hello.
Hello.
Zoom a little bit more. Okay, perfect. You're going to use an iPad to create a timeline on some information that we're going to gather on Daniel Boone. Okay, we'll do it together. And then work with the iPad with an app called the Popplet Lite app. And you're going to create a timeline like the one that I have. Yours doesn't have to be that big. Now this will be for practice, okay, just so that you can get used to the app. Then when you finish your famous American apps, Pocahontas, Betsy Ross, Sitting Bull, Benjamin Franklin, and some of the other ones, okay, I don't want to leave any out, so I'll just stop naming them. When you finish those, Mrs. Rogers is going to let you create a timeline about your person with your partner using the Popplet app. So your goal today is to listen carefully, learn how to use it, okay, and then so that you can make your own timeline later. Are you with me? Shake your head yes if you're with me. Okay, good deal. All right, let's look just real quickly and real briefly at mine, and I'll try to make it a little bit, magnify it up a little bit. Another thing you can do on the Popplet app is you can add pictures. If there's time at the end, after you finish making your timeline, then you may choose to put pictures on there. Search for images of your famous American. Okay? Okay, so we'll start with the very first. We said that the most important, Natalie, I think, or maybe it was Natalie that said the most important first Popplet on the timeline, and those little rectangles are called Popplets, or Popples, okay, is the date of birth. So that's the day I was born. I have the date in the first one. And then below that one, I have the details that support that date. 1967, long, long ago. And I was born in Covington, Kentucky. And I have my parents' names. Now, I chose to add a picture. That is not me. I wish that cute little picture was me. But that is not me. The next significant event in my life, notice that just to the right of that Popplet is the next date. And then there's a picture of me. It's my first day of school, kindergarten. Okay? So I have the date, details, and then later on a picture. Date, to the right, details, and if you want later on a picture. Okay, let's just look at a couple more. Then I went all the way over to 1985. Date. Down below, I've created another Popplet. And those are the details about 1985. I graduated from high school in Montgomery County. Okay, and then I also started my first semester at EKU. Okay, and then I married my husband Chuck. And I can move this one because this is a photo of my timeline. 1987, my first child was born. 1989, my second child was born. Okay, and we won't go through the rest. Well, we're almost finished. In 1996, I moved to Somerset from Winchester, Kentucky. Anybody know where Winchester is? Oh, yay, good. 2005, I began teaching 4th grade. And as Ms. Rogers says, I teach 4th grade at Somerset, and Somerset at Hopkins Elementary. And in 2014, see, I don't have a death date, thankfully, yet. 2014, I came to Roundstone Elementary and got to meet you all. So I'm going to stop there, and I can build on that timeline later. Okay? So this is your goal for today, okay, to be able to put together a timeline and practice on a timeline, creating a timeline and typing in some information. But first we have to gather our information. In the middle of your table, there is a sheet of paper called a memory box. The memory box is an organizer that, I want you to take one, please. Everybody take one. Go ahead and get a pencil and put your name on your paper, because you're going to be saving these to use as a reference later on when you're gathering your information on your famous person for your next timeline. I love the way you guys are working. Very impressive. I'll put a memory box organizer up on my table so that you can, under the document camera, so you can follow along. Okay, put your pencils down and look up at me when you're finished, and then I'll know you're ready. When you're ready to go on, you have your names on your papers. Thank you very much. Very nice, guys. Very nice. Okay, the top of your paper says memory box. Okay, now I've left the title blank. Every timeline needs a title, so the person who's reading it will know what it's about or who it's about. Okay, So our timeline is going to be about, who did we say? Raise your hand and tell me. Joe? About Daniel Boone. Now, you may choose for your title to be Daniel Boone. Okay, you may choose Famous Pioneer, Daniel Boone, Famous Pioneer. Okay, choose your title. Well, actually, we might not say Famous Pioneer because we're going to use that during the details. So, go ahead and write a title. What will you call your timeline? And write it right there on the line that's right beside title under the words memory box. Now, the words Daniel Boone are on your biographies in front of you, so you'll be able to spell those. No, you don't have to write the same thing your partner writes. That's a good question. Yes, Trevin. Okay. You need to go to the okay. As soon as you get your title written down, go ahead and put down your pencil. Okay, this table's almost finished. Most of us chose Daniel Boone. Okay? Okay, look right under Daniel Boone. Now this is going to be your first Popplet on your timeline. Right under Daniel Boone it says Detail. Now under your title, you're going to make another Popplet, and then you're going to write, now you don't have to write this, you're going to type in it, when we get there, Famous Pioneer who helped settle the Kentucky frontier. Is everybody with me there?
Yes.
Okay, good deal. Let's look on down to number 1. Number 1, now I've got some extra lines here. See all these long lines? You won't need to fill all those lines. Just pretend they're not there. Okay? So number 1, the very first Popplet will have the date 1734. And it says November the 2nd. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and open up your biography to page 30. On page 30, we'll share. On page 30 in the biography, on this page are important dates, and I've pretty much lined them with your memory box paper, your organizer. So the very first one says 1734, November the 2nd. Find that on your page on the important dates. The date. Point to it for me, please. Okay. Now, the line below that says, look at the board or look at your graphic organizer again. The line below that says